It felt like a dream come true, an inheritance of $300 million and our own company. When the employees saw my sister-in-law, Mary, celebrating my father's inheritance, they started whispering among themselves. They were all excited. Mary, feeling proud, said loudly, "Please be quiet. This is the moment when my husband will inherit the company and $3 million. One of the employees suddenly started laughing uncontrollably. Meanwhile, my older brother was reading the will with the lawyer. His face turned pale as he read. "Look at this," my brother said, showing the will to his wife. She screamed when she saw it. "My name is Lucy, I'm 29, and I work for my father's business. When my father was young, he had the vision to start a business from scratch, which grew into a successful company with many employees. But early on, he had a lot of debt, and even as a young child, I could tell how tough it was for him. Even when the company became successful, I wanted to help my mother, who mainly did office work. My parents encouraged me to go to college and choose any career, but my dream was always to work for the company my father built. When I graduated from high school, I decided to pursue that dream. Bob, an experienced employee, was the first person to mentor me when I joined the company. He taught me the basics of business without treating me differently just because I was the president's daughter. Thanks to Bob, I learned a lot about the company. On the other hand, my brother Tom, who's just 2 years older than me, went to college to study management. From a young age, he proudly told his college friends that his father ran a business and that he would take over one day. Tom's friends would ask him, "What are your plans after you graduate, Tom? Don't you need to look for a job?" "I don't need to look for work," Tom would reply. "I'll be working for my father's company and eventually become the president. Until then, I'll take my time learning about management." One of Tom's friends remarked, "So, you'll be the next president of the company? Your life will be set." "I'm jealous." Another friend asked, "Don't you have a younger sister? Isn't there going to be a fight over who takes over the business?" Tom answered, "Yes, I have a younger sister, but she's just a high school graduate and a simple person." "That's something you say a lot," Mary commented. "She seemed to be doing some behind-the-scenes work for the company. If I became president, I'd keep her on as long as she listened to me." Meanwhile, my brother was spending money recklessly and wasting time, pretending to gain experience as a business manager. He knew that if he acted well, his friends would be attracted to him. Many women wanted to date him because they knew he was going to be the next president of the company. My brother chose the most glamorous and attractive woman to marry. Her name was Mary. After a big wedding, they went on a honeymoon abroad, built a mansion, and began their married life together. According to him, all of this was to help him get the status of company president. Mary seemed happy with her life, as Tom listened to her every wish and allowed her to enjoy the luxury of being married to him. I'm sure Mary wouldn't want my life, where I work with my mother in the background at my father's company. "Lucy, you don't look like the CEO's daughter," Mary once said, laughing when we met at a family gathering. "You don't seem like the daughter of the company's president." "I don't like a lavish lifestyle," I said. She looked at me like I was strange. "I feel sorry for you," she said. "You were born the daughter of a company president, but you have no idea how to spend money. You live with your parents, and you have so much money, yet you don't work hard for it." She continued, "With your title, shouldn't men be chasing after you?" My brother agreed. "That's true. Lucy has always been modest, so no one would know her father is the president, and she treats the employees like equals." I replied, "There's still so much I don't understand about my job. Many of my coworkers are better at their tasks than I am, so I can't act like I'm some big shot." My brother was shocked. "That's why you're useless," he said. "A boss should be able to stand tall and not be looked down on by their employees. Let others handle the simple, boring tasks." "I suppose my father and I are the only bosses in this house," I said. "You shouldn't look down on your subordinates, no matter how powerful you are," I added, but my brother cut me off. Annoyed with me, he said, "A logical woman is not well liked by men." After that, Mary spoke up. "If you keep saying things like that, you'll never get married. You should try to be more appealing, don't you think, Tom?" Tom added, "Well, when I become president, I might fire a humble employee like you." My brother and Mary quickly said what they needed to and left. After they were gone, my mother, who had been silent, comforted me. She said, "You're doing a great job with the company, and it helps both me and your father. Don't worry about what Tom says." My father nodded, his face serious. My parents had previously disagreed with my brother's attitude, but after that, Tom and Mary became upset and stopped visiting for over a month. I noticed the tense atmosphere and suggested to my parents, Tom and Mary can say whatever they want. After that, Tom and Mary continued living their life as they liked, eating at expensive restaurants and vacationing at fancy resorts. They wanted to give the impression that Tom would someday become the president of my father's company. Meanwhile, my father was working hard to grow the business. One night, he suddenly complained of chest pain. "Are you okay, Dad?" I asked, feeling worried. "Try to relax. I'll call an ambulance." "Lucy, get this," he said, pointing to a drawer. He told me there was a letter for me. I quickly grabbed it. He said, "I want you to read this if anything happens to me. Everything else is up to the lawyers." Then, he lost consciousness before the ambulance even arrived. Despite being rushed to the emergency room, my father passed away without regaining consciousness. Tom and Mary were away on a trip and couldn't be there when my father passed. They came back 2 days later, just in time for the funeral. Tom said, "We're just glad we made it on time. I never imagined Dad would pass away while we were on vacation." I was completely shocked. Tom and Mary showed no care at all, arriving at the funeral without mentioning that my mother and I had to take care of all the arrangements. I asked my brother privately, so the employees wouldn't hear, "Couldn't you have come back earlier?" Tom answered, "I couldn't because I already booked our return flight," without apologizing. Then he turned to address the employees. "Thank you all for your help. From now on, please leave it to me to take my father's place as president in an honorable way," my brother said. Mary looked around at the quiet employees and said proudly, "That's exactly what Tom would do." Everyone is speechless because they're so impressed, right? It's only natural, given my dignity. My brother asked, "Lucy, isn't the ceremony about to start? Please hurry and show us the way." I was irritated by my brother's arrogance, but I led him and Mary to the party table. During the meal, my brother continued to act arrogantly. "Isn't the quality of this food questionable, Lucy? This will lower our father's standing as president." I replied, "Mother and I already discussed it, and we agreed on the food. Besides, I don't want you telling me what to do." He replied, "This is why people don't understand what it means to be president." Then he gave orders to me and the employees, even telling Bob, a longtime employee, to do things for him. I couldn't stand it anymore. "Tom, don't order Bob around like that. You shouldn't be rude to employees." Tom replied, "Why should I be humble in front of them? They should show more respect for me as president." Mary joined in, saying, "That's right. Stop talking down to Tom, the company's future president. If you keep disobeying him, he'll fire you. He has the authority." Just then, a man entered the room. He introduced himself as the lawyer my father had hired. "Please excuse the interruption. Your father asked me to handle his inheritance." I remembered that my father had mentioned hiring a lawyer before he passed away. It seemed my father had been planning for his death for years. When Tom and Mary heard the word inheritance, their faces lit up. They eagerly welcomed the lawyer into the room. Tom said, "Thank you for coming. The sooner we finish this, the better. Come in." As the lawyer spoke, Tom started to cry. "Wasn't the inheritance worth $300 million? Mary gasped, $300 million? That much money in a company that belongs to us? It's a dream come true." When the employees heard this, they started whispering. Mary declared triumphantly, "Quiet. This is the moment when the company and its $300 million inheritance will pass to Tom." One employee laughed loudly, and my brother, still holding the will, looked confused. He read the will aloud and his face turned pale. "Mary, according to the will, the entire company goes to the eldest daughter, Lucy," he said in shock. Tom stared at the will, shouting, "This is impossible. This can't be right." The lawyer said calmly, "This is a legally binding will." Tom was furious. "I don't care how, but how can Lucy become president instead of me? My father must have been getting old and senile. A will made by a senile old man is invalid." Hearing this, I couldn't keep quiet anymore. I couldn't let them insult my father, who had been a good man until the end. "Enough," I said. "Tom becoming president is even more unthinkable in my opinion." Tom was enraged. "Are you saying I'm unfit to be president?" I didn't hesitate to answer, "Yes, you are. How can you be president of this company when you've never helped it?" Tom argued, "Mary and I even built a mansion for a president and went to great lengths to make me look the part." I replied, "You mean building a mansion that doesn't even fit your needs? Or eating at fancy restaurants? That's not good for business. It's just wasting money. Didn't father cover most of the costs for that house and all your luxuries? How would you even know that?" I then revealed, just before he died, Dad gave me a letter. In it, He explained how much money he had spent on you both and that it would be treated as a gift to you during his lifetime. As a result, your share of the inheritance is almost nothing. Mary, hearing this, panicked. Wait a second, the inheritance is worth $300 million, but we already spent that much? That's not fair, we got so little out of it. The employee who had just left quickly approached Mary and told her, the $300 million comes from the company, not personal assets. I think everyone here knows that. I added, money from the company isn't inheritance for the family, so, I'm pretty sure my brother's share is very small. Mary looked shocked. Oh no, Lucy, you mean the inheritance is $300 million? My brother suddenly stood up, as if he'd had an idea. He yelled at the employees, you want a plain woman like Lucy to be your company president? You must believe I'm more qualified. I'm just like my father. But none of the employees agreed with him. Bob spoke up and said, your father was a charismatic man who built the company, but you're not like him. What you have is arrogance, not charisma. Tom became angry when Bob spoke calmly to him. You may be an employee here, but we rarely see you at work, Bob continued. Tom replied, I don't have time for work. I'm too busy networking with people. I can't waste time on tasks anyone else can do. Bob responded, you call going on trips and partying networking? That's not the same thing. Then Bob said, Lucy works hard every day, learning more about the company and helping behind the scenes. Quietly, Bob said, I sense the same sincerity in her as in your father. Lucy is the right person for the job. And the other employees nodded in agreement. I was moved and said, thank you very much. Honestly, I'm surprised by the sudden news. But having seen how passionate my father was about this company, I care about it just as much as you do. I look forward to working with you all. The employees applauded warmly, and I bowed deeply in gratitude. Encouraged by the applause, I added, all of you are important to this business. Anyone who disrespects you doesn't deserve to be an employee, let alone the president. A president can fire anyone. My brother, Tom, got angry and shouted, what are you talking about? I'm your brother. I responded, I can't afford to pay a salary to an incompetent employee just because he's family. Tom, looking pitiful, begged for help from those around him, but the employees just stared at him coldly. Realizing no one was on his side, Tom and Mary left quickly. After that, Tom lost his job and survived on the small inheritance he got, but it didn't last long. Soon, he had nothing left. Can you lend me money, Lucy? He asked. I felt disgusted by him. He still wasn't trying to find work and was depending on the family for help. I told my mother not to give him any money. Tom's friends, who had once supported him, abandoned him after he lost his position as president to me. Mary, who had married Tom planning to be the wife of a company president, didn't have any friends left to support her. When their living expenses became too high, Tom and Mary sold their mansion, but without any income. Their savings quickly ran out, they had nothing left to sell, and soon they couldn't pay their bills. When they finally decided to look for work, no one would hire them because they had never worked a day in their lives. Eventually, Tom found a part-time job at a convenience store. He wasn't used to this work and was criticized by younger employees for not doing a good job. Mary also couldn't stay a full-time housewife anymore. She started working as a cashier at a supermarket for a low salary. As for me, I continued using the knowledge I gained from working behind the scenes to help the company grow. Bob and the other employees worked alongside me, and the company steadily improved. My brother's downfall seemed to bring the employees closer together. I vowed to keep working with my mother to build the business and make my father proud. Even in heaven,